Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I hope you are having a peaceful day. Let's take a slow breath together.
Now look at the cup in your hands. Maybe it is warm. Maybe you can almost smell its rich aroma. For millions of people around the world, coffee is part of every morning. It helps us wake up. It brings friends together. It starts conversations. But have you ever stopped to wonder, where did coffee come from? Who was the very first person to discover it? How did a small bean growing on a mountain become one of the most popular drinks on Earth? Coffee crossed forests, deserts, and great seas. It traveled with shepherds, monks, merchants, sailors, and explorers. Today we are going to follow that incredible journey. Our adventure begins in the beautiful mountains of Ethiopia, where a curious young shepherd noticed something that would change the world forever. Our story begins more than 1,000 years ago in the beautiful highlands of Ethiopia. The air was cool, the hills were covered with green forests, and small villages rested peacefully among the mountains. People lived close to nature, growing food and caring for their animals. It was a quiet and simple life. Among these mountains lived a young goat herder named Kaldi. Every morning he guided his goats through the hills, searching for fresh grass and clean water. He knew every path, every tree, and every stream. But one ordinary day, something unusual caught his attention. The goats discovered a small tree filled with bright red cherries. They eagerly ate the fruit. Soon they began jumping, running, and playing with endless energy. They refused to rest, even as the sun began to set. Kaldi had never seen anything like it before. Curious, Kaldi picked one of the bright red cherries. He looked closely at the fruit. Inside, he found two small green beans. They seemed ordinary, yet somehow they had filled his goats with incredible energy. He knew he had discovered something special. Kaldi carried the cherries to a nearby monastery and shared his story with the monks. At first, they were unsure what to think. One monk tossed the berries into a fire. As the beans roasted, a rich and wonderful aroma filled the room. Everyone stopped and looked toward the glowing fire. The monks crushed the roasted beans and mixed them with hot water. They carefully tasted the dark drink. It was unlike anything they had tried before. The warm drink helped them stay awake during long evening prayers. Whether every part of Kaldi's story is true or not, one thing is certain: the remarkable journey of coffee had begun. Coffee did not remain hidden in the mountains of Ethiopia for long. Traders carried the precious beans across the Red Sea to the Arabian Peninsula. The journey was dangerous. Wooden sailing ships crossed rough waters, while camel caravans traveled through endless deserts. Slowly, coffee found a new home in the land of Arabia. In the mountains of Yemen, people discovered that the climate was perfect for growing coffee. Farmers carefully planted the trees on steep mountain terraces. They watered them, protected them, and patiently waited for the bright red cherries to ripen under the warm Arabian sun. Arabian farmers learned how to dry, roast, and grind the beans. Then they mixed them with hot water to create a rich, dark drink, unlike anything people had tasted before. Coffee quickly became popular among scholars, merchants, and travelers who needed to stay awake during long days and nights. Soon, one city became famous around the world. It was called Moksha. Located on the coast of Yemen, its busy harbor welcomed ships from many distant lands. Nearly every bag of coffee passed through this port before beginning its long journey across the world. Coffee had become one of Arabia's greatest treasures. The rulers wanted to keep it a secret. To prevent other countries from growing coffee, merchants exported only roasted or boiled beans. These beans could no longer grow into new trees. For many years, Arabia controlled almost all of the world's coffee trade. But secrets rarely remain hidden forever. Curious travelers, determined merchants, and fearless explorers dreamed of growing coffee in their own lands. Before long, someone would secretly carry living coffee plants beyond Arabia's borders, changing history forever. Coffee was about to begin its greatest adventure yet. As coffee became more popular, people wanted more than a drink. They wanted a place to enjoy it together. Across cities like Mecca, Cairo, and Istanbul, coffee houses began to appear. They were simple at first, but they quickly became the heart of everyday life. Inside these coffee houses, people talked for hours. Merchants discussed business. Travelers shared stories from distant lands. Scholars debated new ideas. Poets recited their work, and musicians filled the rooms with beautiful melodies. Every cup of coffee seemed to inspire another conversation. Some people even called these coffee houses schools of the wise. News spread quickly from table to table. People learned about science, politics, religion, and discoveries from around the world. Long before newspapers became common, coffee houses connected communities through conversation. Not everyone welcomed these new gathering places. Some rulers worried that large groups of people might share dangerous ideas or criticize those in power. In several cities, coffee houses were temporarily closed, but the people loved coffee too much. Again and again, the coffee houses reopened. Coffee had become much more than a simple drink. It brought together people from different backgrounds. Rich and poor, merchants and craftsmen, travelers and teachers all sat at the same tables. Coffee encouraged conversation, friendship, and the free exchange of ideas. Soon, visitors from Europe began to notice these remarkable coffee houses. They carried stories of the mysterious black drink back across the Mediterranean Sea. Before long, coffee would arrive in Europe, where it would begin another extraordinary chapter in its journey around the world. By the early 1600s, ships carrying coffee began arriving at the great ports of Europe. Merchants unloaded sacks filled with precious beans from distant Arabia. For many Europeans, coffee was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was dark, bitter, and mysterious. Some welcomed it with curiosity, while others viewed it with suspicion. Not everyone trusted this strange new drink. Some people believed coffee was dangerous because it came from distant lands and unfamiliar cultures. They even called it the devil's brew. Rumors spread quickly, and many wondered whether coffee should be forbidden. According to a famous story, the drink was brought before Pope Clement VIII. Instead of banning it, he decided to taste it himself. To everyone's surprise, he enjoyed its rich flavor. Legend says he declared that such a delicious drink should not belong only to others. Whether the story is entirely true or not, coffee soon became widely accepted across Europe. Coffee houses quickly appeared in cities such as Venice, London, Paris, and Vienna. They became popular meeting places where merchants, writers, scientists, and artists exchanged ideas. Many people believed that a cup of coffee helped them think more clearly than beer or wine, which had often been part of everyday life. In England, coffee houses became so important that they earned a special nickname, penny universities. For the price of a single cup of coffee, anyone could enter, listen to great thinkers, join lively discussions, and learn something new. These coffee houses became places where knowledge was shared freely. Soon, visitors from Europe began to notice these remarkable coffee houses. They carried stories of the mysterious black drink back across the Mediterranean Sea. Before long, coffee would arrive in Europe, where it would begin another extraordinary chapter in its journey around the world. For many years, Arabia carefully guarded its coffee plants. But no secret lasts forever. Travelers and merchants secretly carried living coffee seeds beyond Arabia's borders. Before long, coffee trees began growing in new lands, and the world's greatest coffee adventure had truly begun. European nations quickly realized that coffee could become one of the world's most valuable crops. The Dutch planted coffee in Indonesia. The French carried coffee to the Caribbean. The Portuguese introduced it to Brazil. One small plant was beginning to transform entire continents. Among all these new regions, Brazil proved to be perfect for coffee farming. Vast plantations stretched across rolling hills under the warm tropical sun. Year after year, millions of coffee trees produced enormous harvests. Before long, Brazil became the world's largest producer of coffee, a title it still holds today. As coffee production grew, so did international trade. Ships loaded with thousands of sacks of coffee crossed the oceans every day. Ports became busier, markets expanded. Coffee created jobs for farmers, merchants, sailors, and traders around the world. It had become one of the world's most important commodities. By the 19th century, coffee was no longer a luxury enjoyed only by the wealthy. It had become an everyday drink for ordinary people. Families shared it at breakfast. Workers enjoyed it before long days of labor. Coffee had become part of daily life across much of the world. From a wild plant growing in the mountains of Ethiopia, coffee had traveled farther than anyone could have imagined. It crossed deserts, sailed across oceans, and connected cultures on every continent. But even today, its remarkable journey is still continuing with every single cup that is poured. The 18th and 19th centuries brought enormous change. Steam engines powered factories, railways connected cities. New inventions appeared almost every year. This period became known as the Industrial Revolution. As the world worked faster than ever before, coffee found an important new purpose. Factory workers often began their shifts before sunrise and worked long hours. They needed something to help them stay alert and focused. Coffee became the perfect companion. A warm cup in the morning gave workers energy to face another demanding day. Coffee was not only enjoyed in factories. Inventors, scientists, writers, and business leaders also gathered in coffee houses. They exchanged ideas, solved problems, and planned new inventions. Some historians believe that many important discoveries and business partnerships began over a simple cup of coffee. As cities grew larger, cafes became an important part of everyday life. Friends met after work, students studied together, and travelers rested during long journeys. Coffee was no longer just a drink. It had become a symbol of conversation, creativity, and community. By the end of the 19th century, coffee had become a daily habit for millions of people. From busy factories to quiet homes, from railway stations to city cafes, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. It had become part of everyday life across the world. Even today, coffee continues to bring people together. It begins our mornings, inspires conversations, and connects cultures across the globe. What started as a simple wild plant in the mountains of Ethiopia has become one of humanity's most beloved traditions. Today, coffee is one of the most popular drinks in the world. Every day, more than 2 billion cups of coffee are enjoyed across the globe. From busy cities to quiet villages, people begin their mornings with the familiar aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Although cultures may be different, this simple drink connects millions of people every single day. Every cup of coffee begins its journey on a farm. Skilled farmers carefully grow coffee trees, harvest the ripe red cherries by hand, and prepare the beans for export. Behind every cup are months of hard work, patience, and dedication from farming families around the world. After harvest, the beans travel thousands of kilometers by trucks, trains, ships, and airplanes. They are roasted in factories, packed with care, and delivered to cafes, restaurants, supermarkets, and homes. The journey from a small coffee tree to your favorite cup is truly remarkable. Today, there are countless ways to enjoy coffee. Some people love a strong espresso. Others prefer a creamy latte or a smooth cappuccino. Every country has its own traditions, recipes, and favorite ways of preparing this remarkable drink. Coffee has become much more than a morning habit. It brings friends together, inspires conversations, helps students study, and gives workers a fresh start each day. Around the world, cafes have become places where ideas are shared and memories are created. It is amazing to think that all of this began with a small wild plant growing in the mountains of Ethiopia. After more than 1,000 years, coffee continues to connect people across cultures, languages, and continents. Every cup tells a story that is still being written today. Coffee is much more than a drink. It is a story of discovery, curiosity, and human connection. From the mountains of Ethiopia to nearly every corner of the earth, one small bean has traveled farther than almost anyone could have imagined. Its journey reminds us that even the simplest things can change history. Throughout history, coffee has brought people together. It has welcomed strangers into conversation, inspired artists to create, encouraged scientists to share ideas, and helped friends build lasting memories. Across different cultures and languages, coffee has become a symbol of hospitality and friendship. The story of coffee also teaches us the importance of curiosity. A young shepherd noticed something unusual about his goats. Farmers experimented with new ways of preparing the beans. Travelers carried coffee to distant lands. None of them knew they were helping create a tradition that would last for centuries. No single country created coffee's success alone. Farmers, merchants, sailors, inventors, and cafe owners all played a part. Generation after generation, people worked together to grow, transport, roast, and serve the drink that billions of people now enjoy every day. The next time you hold a warm cup of coffee, remember that it has traveled an extraordinary path. It crossed mountains, deserts, and oceans before reaching your hands. Behind every cup are thousands of people whose hard work made that moment possible. For more than 1,000 years, coffee has connected people, inspired conversations, and shaped history. Its remarkable journey is still continuing today. And perhaps tomorrow morning, as you enjoy your first sip, you'll remember that every great story can begin with something as small as a single bean. Today, we followed an incredible journey. We traveled from the green mountains of Ethiopia to the busy ports of Arabia. We visited the first coffee houses, crossed oceans with brave explorers, and watched coffee spread across the world. All of this began with one small bean and one simple discovery. Along the way, we learned many useful English words. Words like shepherd, harvest, merchant, plantation, coffeehouse, journey, trade, discover, tradition, and culture. Listening to stories is one of the best ways to remember new vocabulary because every word becomes part of a meaningful experience. The next time you enjoy a cup of coffee, perhaps you will think about the people behind it, the farmers who grew it, the sailors who carried it, the merchants who traded it, and the generations who shared it with the world. Every cup has a story waiting to be remembered. History is full of amazing stories just like this one. Every invention, every discovery, and every tradition has its own fascinating journey. And together, we will continue exploring them, one story at a time. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us again for another journey through history while improving your English. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next story. Goodbye.